The ceiling was wrong. That was my first coherent thought as consciousness dragged me upward through layers of fog. Not the cracked plaster of the barracks, not the stars through a viewport, crystalline, geometric patterns that shifted with light I couldn't trace. My breath caught. The air tasted like copper and something floral I had no name for. I tried to sit up. My body refused. Not restrained. I checked, fingers twitching against smooth fabric. Just heavy. Drugged heavy. The kind that meant someone wanted me alive but compliant. Then I saw them. 2 figures stood at the foot of the bed, perfectly still. The taller one wore robes that seemed to absorb light, deep purple fading to black at the edges. Her skin was pale blue, almost luminescent, with darker markings along her temples that might have been tattoos or biology. 4 eyes, arranged vertically in pairs, watched me without blinking. Her crown was simple, a thin circlet of metal that pulsed faintly. The Queen. I knew without being told. You don't survive 3 years as a human mercenary in alien territory without learning to read power. Beside her stood a smaller version, same blue skin, same markings, but only 2 eyes. They were large and fixed on me with an intensity that made my stomach tighten. The child, because that's what she had to be, wore simpler clothes but stood with the same rigid formality. 10 years old, maybe, if I was translating their aging right. Neither of them spoke. I swallowed. My throat was dry. Where am I? The Queen's expression didn't change. The child's head tilted slightly. Still no words. My pulse began to climb. Silence in interrogations meant one of 2 things. They were deciding whether to kill you, or they were waiting for you to incriminate yourself. I'd been through both. This felt different. Heavier. I scanned the room without moving my head much. Luxury but restrained. The kind of quarters that said important prisoner rather than guest. 1 door, no windows. The lighting came from the walls themselves, bioluminescent or tech I couldn't tell. No weapons visible. That meant nothing. I'm not armed, I said. Standard opening. I don't know what happened, but... The Queen's hand moved, barely a gesture, just fingers rising an inch, and the girl stopped immediately. Perfectly trained. My training kicked in through the drug haze. Assess. Adapt. Survive. I was in a sleeping gown. Not my uniform. Someone had undressed me. Checked me for weapons, probably injuries. This wasn't a battlefield capture. The last thing I remembered was the transport. The ambush. Fire cutting through the hall. My team scattering. Then nothing. How long? My voice came out steadier than I felt. The Queen's upper eyes closed briefly. The lower pair never left me. When she finally spoke, her voice was like wind through metal chimes. 3 cycles.
Maybe the rotation could be different.
My team? Final. I felt it in my chest like a blade. Martinez. Yuki. Cross. Gone. Could mean dead. Could mean escaped. Could mean anything. The Queen's tone suggested she wouldn't clarify. The child was staring at my hands. I glanced down. Bandages wrapped my left palm and 2 fingers. Fresh, white. Someone had treated me carefully. Why am I alive? The real question. The only one that mattered. The Queen's head inclined slightly. You saved her. The child. I looked at the girl again, searching my fractured memories. The ambush. Fire. Screaming in a language I didn't speak. A small figure trapped behind collapsing metal. I'd moved without thinking, pulled someone free. Didn't even see their face before the explosion. I didn't know who she was. True. Important to establish. We know. The Queen's lower eyes finally blinked. You acted without knowledge, without expectation of reward. This complicates matters. Not changes or helps. Complicates. My mind raced through scenarios. Debt. Honor culture. Political implications. I'd save the heir to something big enough to put me in a royal bedroom instead of a cell. Big enough that the Queen herself was here. But complication meant there was a problem. What matters? I asked carefully. The child spoke for the first time. Her voice was higher, musical. You touched me. Cultural taboo, had to be. Something about physical contact. Class barriers. Contamination. I'd seen it before in other species. The Queen's expression shifted microscopically. Not anger. Something colder. The law is ancient. Clear. A human touching the air carries one consequence. I knew what was coming. Known since I woke up, really. Death, I said. Yes. The child's hands clenched at her sides. The queen remained perfectly still. The silence stretched like a wire pulling taut. I should have felt fear. Part of me did. But 3 years of war had worn down my panic response. I looked at the girl I'd saved. She looked back. Those large eyes weren't cruel, just young, confused. When? I asked. The queen's upper eyes opened again. All four regarded me now. That, she said softly, is what we must discuss. The queen moved to a chair I hadn't noticed. The furniture seemed to grow from the floor, organic and crystalline at once. She sat with deliberate grace. The child remained standing, hands now clasped behind her back, in a posture too formal for someone so young. Your name, the queen said. Not quite a question. Sergeant Kai Chen. Human Coalition Forces, Serial... I stopped. Sergeant. You understand our law carries weight beyond personal desire. Yes, I'd studied enough alien cultures. Law wasn't always about justice. Sometimes it was about order. My daughter lives because you ignored your own survival. The debt is absolute. The law is also absolute. These things exist simultaneously. A paradox. I was starting to understand the complication. The child shifted her weight. Young enough that perfect stillness was difficult, the queen noticed but didn't correct her. There are exceptions, the queen continued, written when our people first reach the stars, if the violation serves the crown directly, if the human demonstrates value beyond the incident. You want something from me? Statement, not question? We require something. The distinction matters. Fair enough. I waited. The queen's fingers traced a pattern on the arm of her chair. Nervous habit or deliberate signal, I couldn't tell. 3 days ago, the transport you attacked was returning my daughter from a diplomatic education exchange. The ambush was not random. We weren't attacking you. We were hired to hit a weapons shipment. The intelligence you received was false. Planted. Someone wanted either my daughter dead or wanted humans blamed for killing her. Politics. I'd been a pawn. My whole team had died as pawns. Who? I asked. That, the queen said, is what you will help us discover. Mother, he doesn't... Kessa, one word. The girl's mouth closed. The queen's gaze never left me. Sergeant Chen, you are trained in combat, investigation, human tactics. You understand how your people think, how they're manipulated. We need this understanding. In exchange for my life, in exchange for time, the law states you must die for touching the hair. It does not specify when. Work with us. Find who orchestrated the attack. When that service is rendered, we revisit the matter of consequence. I almost laughed. Delay tactics. Buy time. Hope something changed. Humans use the same logic. And if I refuse, then the law is satisfied immediately. Kessa loses the one who saved her. I lose potentially valuable insight. The conspirators remain hidden. Everyone loses except our enemies. Cold. Effective. I looked at Kessa again. She was watching me with that same intensity. Something in her expression wasn't quite right. Not fear. Not hope. Something else. Your daughter doesn't agree with this, I said. The queen's silence was confirmation enough. Kessa believes the law should be set aside entirely, that saving her life nullifies it. She is young. She does not yet understand that law exists above individual desire. The words were gentle but firm. Teaching moment. What do you believe, Sergeant? Interesting question. Trap or genuine curiosity? I believe laws that demand death for saving lives are broken. But I'm not from here. My belief doesn't matter. I'm honest. The queen stood. You will be given quarters, access to investigation records, an advisor who understands our language and customs. You will report findings directly to me. You will not leave the palace. You will not contact other humans. These terms are not negotiable. And if I find your conspirators, then we determine whether your service has earned permanent exception. She moved toward the door, robes flowing like liquid shadow. Or if you have merely purchased a comfortable delay before the inevitable. Kessa followed her mother but looked back once. Her expression was unreadable. The door sealed behind them with a sound like crystal singing. I was alone. I sat up slowly, fighting the drug weight. My hand went to the bandages automatically. Someone had been gentle, careful. Probably the same person who dressed me, moved me here, kept me alive while the Queen decided what to do with her daughter's problematic savior. The room was a gilded cage, comfortable, deadly. I stood on shaking legs and walked to the door. It didn't open. I touched the wall beside it. Smooth, cool. No visible controls. I turned and surveyed my prison properly. A desk. Actual paper, rare in space. Writing implements. A data tablet sitting in the center with a pulsing light. Someone had prepared this room before I woke, prepared for me to agree. I picked up the tablet. It activated at my touch. Text scrolled across the screen in English. Someone had programmed it for me specifically. The first file was labeled Transport Ambush Initial Intelligence Report. I opened it. 300 words in, I understood why they needed a human. The attack had been coordinated using human mercenary protocols, coded frequencies we used. Timing consistent with coalition training, but the execution was wrong. Small details. A human operator would have noticed. Someone who understood humans but wasn't human had planned this. I read for an hour, then another. The drugs wore off gradually, replaced by the sharp focus I knew from mission prep. Names, patterns, ship movements, a conspiracy taking shape, like a picture emerging from noise. The door chimed. I tensed. It opened to reveal a new figure, tall. Male, I thought, though their species had 3 genders and I wasn't confident. Skin a darker blue than the Queen's. No crown, simple robes. He carried a tray with food. Sergeant Chen. His English was flawless, American accented. I am Varen. I will serve as your advisor. Please eat. You haven't taken nutrition in 70 hours. I accepted the tray carefully. The food was alien, but prepared simply. Protein, carbohydrate.
Recognizable structures?
They'd researched human needs. Questions, Varen asked. Hundreds. Start with why you speak English like you're from California. A slight smile. I studied on Earth. UCLA. Cultural exchange program. 20 years ago. Your world fascinated me. And now you're babysitting a human prisoner. Now I am assisting a consultant who may prevent a war. He sat without invitation, confident. The Queen did not exaggerate. If humans are blamed for attempting to assassinate the heir, the political consequences will be catastrophic. Your coalition wants peace. So does our matriarchy. But there are factions on both sides who profit from conflict. The food was bland but substantial. Energy returning to my limbs. How many people know I'm here? I asked. 17. The Queen. The medical team who treated you. Palace security. Me. A handful of advisors. Someone in that 17 is probably compromised. If this conspiracy is deep enough to plant false intelligence and coordinate an attack, they have palace access. Varen nodded slowly. I calculated that probability at 68%. The Queen's estimate was higher. She's testing me, seeing if I reach the same conclusions. Yes. I finished eating and set the tray aside. The girl. Kessa. How does she really feel about this? Varen's expression shifted. Careful now. The heir is passionate about justice. She believes you earned exemption through action. She has argued this point extensively. But the Queen won't bend. Not on law. Law is what holds our society together. To break it for personal feelings, even good ones, creates fractures. Other laws become questionable. Authority becomes arbitrary. He leaned forward. Understand, Sergeant. The Queen wants to save you. But she is Queen second, Mother third, Lawkeeper first. Didn't like it, but understood. Then I better find these bastards fast. I'll return in 6 hours with more files. Rest. You'll need strength for what comes next. He left.
Door sealed. I returned to the tablet.
Dove into data. Ship logs. Communication intercepts. Personnel records.
Looking for the pattern.
The flaw. The fingerprint that would reveal who wanted the heir dead and humans blamed. 3 hours in, I found the first thread. A supply order that didn't match fuel consumption. Someone had rerouted resources. Small amounts. Building to something. 5 hours in, my eyes burned. I kept reading. 6 hours in, Varen returned with food and a new data core. Sleep, he ordered. After this section. The Queen commanded, you maintained. Sleep is maintenance. Does she always speak that formally? Only when she's frightened. That stopped me. I'd seen the queen as cold. Calculating, not frightened. Of what? Losing her daughter. Losing the peace. Losing the chance to do what's right. He set the food down.
She carries the weight of millions. You carry only your own life.
In some ways, your burden is lighter. Gone, Martinez's laugh. Yuki's quiet competence, Cross's terrible jokes. Oh, gone, because someone needed pawns. My burden's plenty heavy, I said. Varen nodded and left. I ate. Slept. Dreamed of fire and small hands I'd pulled from wreckage. Woke with Kessa's face clear in my memory for the first time. Those large eyes. The way she'd looked at me. Not with gratitude. With something fiercer. Recognition, maybe? Like she'd seen something in me I hadn't seen in myself. I returned to work with new determination. Someone had tried to kill a child to start a war. I'd stopped them once by accident. Time to stop them on purpose. The answer was in the data. I just had to find it before the law ran out of patience. 4 days into my investigation, Kessa appeared in my quarters without warning. I looked up from the tablet to find her standing inside the closed door like she'd materialized from air. How did you making progress? Some? I set the tablet down carefully. Protocol said I shouldn't be alone with her. Protocol also said I should already be dead. Does your mother know you're here? Mother is in council, 4 hours minimum. Kessa sat in the chair Varen usually occupied. Her formality was gone. She moved like any 10-year-old, quick, restless, curious. Varen says you found the supply discrepancy. Varen talks too much. Varen is loyal. He wants you to succeed.
So do I.
Tell me what you found. Why? You have access to everything I do. Because you see things we miss. Human perspective. Different logic patterns. She tapped her temple. Your brain works strange. Useful strange. Hard to argue with that. I pulled up the files and walked her through it. The supply reroutes, the communication gaps, the personnel who had access at the right times. 3 names kept appearing in overlapping circumstances. Kessa listened without interrupting. Her eyes tracked the data faster than I expected, absorbing, processing. When I finished, she sat back. 2 of those names are human liaisons. The third is my mother's cousin. I noticed. The cousin means Civil War potential. If she's involved, it implicates the royal family. Other houses would demand investigations. Tribunals. Kessa's voice was steady, but her hands clenched. Bad. Which is why I need more evidence before naming anyone. Especially nobility. You're protecting us, even though we're holding you prisoner. I'm protecting peace. Soldiers die in wars. Civilians too. Children. I met her gaze. I've seen enough of that. She was quiet for a moment. Then, why did you pull me out? At the transport. The question I'd been avoiding thinking about. Training. Instinct. Someone needed help.
You didn't know who I was.
No. If you had known, would you still have done it? Knowing it meant death. Decided she deserved truth. I don't know. I'd like to think yes. But knowing consequences changes actions. I'm not a hero, just a soldier who reacted. Honesty. She smiled slightly. Rare quality. Mother appreciates it even when she doesn't show it. Quote, your mother is hard to read. End quote.
Kessa stood and walked to the wall, running her fingers along the crystalline surface.
Our people value control, emotional discipline. Showing feeling is weakness. Mother is excellent at this. Perfect, almost. She cried when she thought I died. Only for 20 seconds. Then she was queen again. Kessa turned back. She's good at being what she must be, not always what she wants to be. The insight was sharp. Too sharp for someone so young unless they'd spent a lifetime watching. And you? I asked. What must you be? Heir? Dutiful. Obedient. Perfect in public. Perfect in private. Perfect until perfection is my only state. Her voice carried an edge. I'm working on it. Sounds exhausting. It is. She returned to the chair, but it's also my duty. Just as finding the conspirators is yours now, we all carry weight. Your mother said something similar. Mother and I agree on many things. The law is not one of them. Kessa's expression hardened. What you did was right. Good. Just the law punishing that is wrong. I will not accept it. You don't have a choice. Even heirs. Even queens. She leaned forward. Find the conspirators, Sergeant. Find them quickly. Because I am planning to challenge the law formally when this is done. Force a tribunal review. It will be ugly. Political. Difficult. But Mother cannot refuse if I demand it publicly as heir. That'll cause you problems. Yes. Weaken your position, make enemies. Yes. Maybe fail entirely and I die anyway. Yes. She met my eyes. But doing nothing is worse. You saved my life. I will not let ancient law destroy yours without fighting. That's not justice.
That's cowardice.
I saw the queen in her then. Not the cold formality, but the steel underneath. This child would be formidable when grown. Your mother will be furious, I said. Mother will be proud even while she punishes me. Showing spine is important. Even when inconvenient, Kessa stood. Finish your investigation, Sergeant Chen. Give us the conspirators. Then let me worry about the rest. Kessa, I called. She paused. Thank you. Don't thank me until you're free. The door opened. She slipped through like smoke. I sat alone with new weight on my shoulders. The girl was going to start a political battle to save me. All I had to do was hand her the ammunition by solving an assassination plot. No pressure. I returned to the files with renewed focus. The cousin's name bothered me. Too obvious. Too easy. Conspiracies this sophisticated didn't leave royal fingerprints unless they wanted misdirection. I dug deeper into the human liaisons. Both were coalition veterans. Both had clean records. Both had arrived on diplomatic assignments 6 months before the attack. Standard rotation timing. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I pulled their service records. Cross-referenced with other personnel from their units. Found 3 other soldiers who'd rotated into liaison positions across different alien governments at the same time. Pattern emerging. I requested communication logs. Varen delivered them the next morning. I spent 8 hours building a network map. The liaisons talked to each other. Encrypted channels. Nothing illegal, standard security practice. But the timing clustered around key diplomatic events. Trade negotiations. Defense agreements. Peace treaties. Someone was coordinating human representatives across alien space. Subtle. Professional. Effective. I brought it to Varen. He studied my work in silence. This suggests human government involvement, he said finally. Or someone wants it to look that way. Could be fringe military. Corporate interests. Rogue intelligence operation. I rubbed my eyes. Need more before I can say definitively. After that, political pressure becomes impossible to resist. Then I work faster. I worked through the night. Through the next day. Subsisting on stimulants and determination. The pattern grew clearer. 5 liaison rotations over 8 months. All veterans. All impeccable records. All positioned near critical diplomatic infrastructure. Then I found it. A financial transaction. Small. Routed through 14 intermediaries. Ending in a defense contractor's shell company. One that had lost 3 major contracts when peace talks progressed. One with enough resources to fund mercenaries and false intelligence. Corporate. Not government. Not military. Just profit motive wrapped in patriotic rhetoric. I had names. Evidence. Chain of command. Everything. I called for Varen. Showed him. Watched his expression shift from skepticism to grim certainty. This will create significant turmoil in the coalition, he said. Better than war. Truth. He gathered the files. I'll brief the Queen immediately. Well done, Sergeant. He left me alone. I sat in the quiet of my quarters and felt nothing. No triumph. No relief. Just exhaustion and the knowledge that I'd bought myself unknown time. Maybe enough, maybe not. The door chimed an hour later. I expected Varen. Found the Queen instead. She entered alone. No guards. No ceremony. Just the weight of authority and something else in her expression. You solved it. Not a question. Yes, Your Majesty. In 9 days. Impressive. She moved to the window. When had there been a window? And looked out at the palace grounds. Varen is assembling a security team. We'll move against the conspirators quietly. Arrests. Trials. Evidence shared with coalition leadership. The peace will hold. Good. Because of you. She turned. All 4 eyes met mine. You have rendered the service requested, exceeded expectations, demonstrated value to the Crown. The moment of truth, the law regarding your offense remains, she continued. I cannot simply dismiss it. To do so would undermine legal authority, create precedent that endangers order. She paused, but law also provides mechanisms, tribunals, reviews, exceptional circumstance protocols. Yukesa mentioned those. The Queen's expression shifted, almost smiled. My daughter is relentless when she believes in something. She has formally requested a tribunal to examine the law's application in your case. As heir, I cannot deny her this right. But you can influence the outcome. Present evidence of your service. Argue for exception. The tribunal will decide. She moved closer. Understand, Sergeant Chen. This is not mercy. This is law functioning as designed. Slow, deliberate. Just... And if they decide against me, then the law is satisfied and I lose someone who saved my daughter and helped prevent war. Her voice was quiet. I would prefer a different outcome. So would I. Then we share a goal. She moved to the door, paused. Kessa wishes to thank you personally. I've denied her 3 times. I will not deny her a 4th. She arrives in 10 minutes. Be kind. She carries weight beyond her years. The Queen left. I had 10 minutes to prepare for another conversation I didn't know how to navigate. Kessa arrived exactly on time. She entered with formal posture, but her eyes were bright. You did it, she said. We'll see what the tribunal says. They'll rule favorably. They must. Logic demands it. She sat. Mother will argue persuasively. I will testify. Varen will present security implications. You'll have every advantage, except certainty. We work with probabilities and will. She leaned back. I wanted to say thank you for solving the conspiracy, for giving me ammunition to change bad law, for not dying before I could fight for you. You're welcome on all counts. When this is over, when you're free, what will you do? I hadn't thought that far ahead. Freedom felt theoretical. Go back to the Coalition, I guess. Find new work. Try to stay alive. Consultant. Liaison. Cultural advisor. She said it casually but watched for my reaction. We need humans who understand both sides. Who see clearly. You've proven that capability. Your mother putting you up to this? Mother suggested the possibility. I'm presenting it as genuine offer.
Kessa smiled. Think about it. No pressure.
Just option. Varen entered. Apologies. The Queen requires the heir's presence in council. Duty calls. Always calls. She moved to the door. Looked back. Thank you, Kai Chen, for everything. I sat with the weight of possibility. A future I hadn't considered.
A role beyond soldier. Beyond prisoner?
If I survived the tribunal. The tribunal convened 12 days after my investigation concluded. They held it in a chamber that felt designed to intimidate. Vast ceiling, walls of dark crystal, seats arranged in concentric rings rising up like judgment incarnate. 17 adjudicators. All elderly, all severe, all watching me with expressions that revealed nothing. I stood in the center, alone. Varen had explained I couldn't have representation. The accused spoke for themselves. Truth unfiltered. The lead adjudicator spoke first. Her voice carried like thunder despite her frail appearance. Sergeant Kai Chen. You stand before this tribunal accused of unlawful physical contact with the royal heir. The law is clear. The consequence is death. Do you dispute the facts? I touched her. Pulled her from wreckage. The facts are accurate. Honesty apparently surprised them. You admit guilt. Whether that constitutes guilt depends on how you define law versus morality. More murmurs. Louder now. Explain. The adjudicator's tone sharpened. The law says touching the heir warrants death. The law doesn't account for context, necessity, life-saving intervention. If laws are absolute regardless of circumstance, they're not laws. They're tyranny. I kept my voice level from I saved a child's life. If that's a crime, then your law is broken. Absolute. Pressing. The adjudicator leaned forward. You dare criticize our legal foundation? You asked. I answered. The Queen rose from her position in the observer section. Adjudicators, I request permission to present evidence. The lead adjudicator nodded. The Queen descended to the floor. She carried a data tablet. Sergeant Chen's actions prevented the heir's death. This is established. His subsequent investigation uncovered a conspiracy that threatened war between our people and the human coalition. These facts are also established. She activated the tablet. Images projected across the chamber walls. The law he violated exists to protect the royal line from contamination, political manipulation, and unauthorized influence. Its purpose is preservation of the crown. She turned to face the adjudicators. Sergeant Chen's violation served that exact purpose. He preserved the heir's life. He preserved the peace. He acted without knowledge of consequence or expectation of reward. The law's spirit, protection of the crown, was fulfilled through his actions. Only its letter was broken. The letter matters, one adjudicator said. Law without consistent application becomes meaningless. Agreed, the Queen said, which is why I'm not requesting dismissal. I'm requesting formal exception. Documented. Precedented. Applied specifically to circumstances where violation directly serves the crown's survival. Clever. She wasn't asking them to break law. She was asking them to clarify it. The adjudicators conferred. Whispered conversations in their language. I caught fragments. Debate. Disagreement. Uncertainty. Finally, we will hear from the heir. She descended with the same formal grace as her mother, but her hands were clenched, nervous, trying not to show it. Adjudicators, she said. Her voice was clear, but I heard the tremor underneath. I am alive because Sergeant Chen acted without hesitation, without concern for law or consequence. He saw someone in danger. He responded, This is the definition of honor. The law exists above honor, an adjudicator said. Does it? Or does law serve honor? Kessa's voice strengthened. Law protects the crown so the crown can protect our people. Sergeant Chen protected the crown, protected me. Therefore, he served the law's highest purpose even while violating its specific text. You're the victim. Your perspective is compromised. My perspective is clear. I was there. I saw his face when he pulled me free. There was no calculation, no political thought, just action. Pure. Good. She turned to look at me. If we kill him for that, what message does it send? That saving royal lives is punishable? That honor is less important than rigid text? We become what we claim to oppose. Tyrannical. Unjust.
Voices raised. Arguments over like...
The lead adjudicator called for order. It took 3 attempts. The heir's passion is noted, she said icily, but law cannot bend to every emotional appeal. This is an emotional appeal, Kessa shot back. This is fundamental question. Does law serve justice, or does justice serve law? Because if it's the latter, we're building society on foundation of sand. Silence again. Heavier now. The Queen touched Kessa's shoulder gently. Thank you, daughter. Return to your seat.
Kessa hesitated, then obeyed.
The lead adjudicator looked at me.
Sergeant Chen. You have heard testimony in your favor. Do you wish to speak further? Considered strategy. Rhetoric. Appeals.
No, adjudicator.
Everyone said what needs saying. The decision is yours. I'll accept it either way. Bravery or fatalism? Respect? For the process. For law. Even law I disagree with. I met her gaze. But I won't apologize for saving a child's life. Whatever you decide. Filed out through a door that sealed behind them. The chamber descended into tense waiting. Varen appeared beside me. Well spoken. Think it mattered? Truth always matters. Outcome is uncertain. Protocol said they shouldn't approach. Apparently protocol was flexible when waiting for someone's death sentence. You were honest, the Queen said, bold. It may have angered them. Probably. But lying would have failed anyway. They're too smart. Just stood close. Her presence was comfort, or burden, depending on how I looked at it. We waited 2 hours, then 3. The chamber's lighting shifted to evening tones. Still we waited. Finally the door opened. The adjudicators returned. Their expressions revealed nothing. We resumed positions. The lead adjudicator stood. This tribunal has deliberated extensively. The law is clear. The circumstances are unprecedented. Both create tension. She paused. After examining precedent, consulting legal archives, and debating philosophical foundation, we have reached a decision. My heart hammered. I kept my face neutral. The law prohibiting unauthorized contact with the royal heir serves vital purpose. It cannot be casually dismissed. However, the law was written in a time of palace intrigue and political assassination. Its purpose was preventing harm to the crown. Sergeant Chen's actions prevented exactly that harm. Didn't dare hope. Therefore, this tribunal rules as follows. Sergeant Kai Chen is guilty of unlawful contact with the royal heir. This fact is established and recorded. However, the specific circumstances, life-saving intervention with no political motivation, constitute exceptional case meriting formal exception. The sentence is commuted. The violation is noted but not punished. The chamber exploded. Voices shouting. Some angry. Some relieved. The adjudicator raised her hand. Silence fell gradually. Furthermore, she continued, this case establishes precedent. Future violations in service of the Crown's preservation will be examined individually. Context will be considered. Law remains absolute in principle but applied with wisdom in practice. Sergeant Chen, you are free. Your service is noted with gratitude. Your violation is forgiven. Go with the Crown's blessing. My knees almost gave out. Varen caught my arm. The Queen inclined her head to the adjudicators. Thank you for your wisdom. Trying not to. Failing. The tribunal adjourned. People filed out. I stood in the emptying chamber, trying to process that I was alive. Free. Forgiven. The Queen approached. You gambled with honesty. It paid well. I didn't know what else to do. Valuable. Dangerous. She extended her hand. Human gesture. Deliberate. Thank you, Sergeant Chen. For the peace. For forcing us to examine our own laws. I shook her hand carefully. Thank you for not killing me. She almost smiled. Sensible gratitude. Kessa bounced on her feet. Childlike again. You're staying, right? Taking the consultant position? I looked at her. At the Queen. At Varen hovering nearby. Yeah, I said. I think I am. Good. Kessa grabbed my hand, legal now technically, and pulled me toward the exit. Come on, I want to show you the gardens. Mother never takes me, and Varen's boring about plants. I'm wounded, Varen said mildly. The Queen watched us go with an expression I couldn't quite read. Approval. Concern. Relief. Maybe all three. I let Kessa drag me through crystalline halls into evening light. The gardens were bioluminescent. Alien flowers that pulsed with their own rhythm. Beautiful and strange and nothing like home. You know what Mother didn't say? Kessa asked. She was still holding my hand. What? That she voted in your favor during the deliberations? Queens aren't supposed to vote in tribunals, but she did anyway. Secretly, because law is important, but so is doing what's right. Kessa looked up at me. She's good at that. Being queen and being good, balancing both. She has good help, I said. She will now. You'll see things we miss. Human things. Important things. Kessa released my hand and spun in a circle, arms wide. This is going to be excellent. You'll teach me human tactics. I'll teach you our language. Varen will complain we're both hopeless. It'll be perfect. I laughed, first real laugh in weeks. Sounds exhausting. Everything worthwhile is. She stopped spinning and fixed me with that intense gaze. Thank you, Kai, for pulling me out, for staying, for everything. You're welcome, Kessa. The palace glowed around us, alien and beautiful and somehow, impossibly, becoming home. I'd opened my eyes to find the Queen and her daughter waiting in silence. I'd expected death. Found purpose instead. Funny how that works sometimes. Tomorrow I'd start the consultant work. Learn the language. Navigate politics. Build bridges between species. Hard work. Tonight I just stood in the garden with a child who'd refused to let bad law destroy something good. Who'd fought with everything she had. Who'd won? Come on, Kessa said. Mother will want us at dinner. She's cooking human food. It'll be terrible, but we have to pretend it's good. That's universal, I said. Pretending authority figures can cook. Kessa laughed. We walked back together through gardens that glowed like captured stars. Two people from different worlds. Connected by chance. Saved by choice. Moving forward into something new. The future was uncertain. Probably difficult. Definitely strange. I couldn't wait.